to sort of lead the charge there on is it recording for you? My screen's kind of like weird. Does it look all
Yeah,
good?
yeah.
Okay, cool. I do want to say, before I forget to, I'm just gonna promo my shit because I dropped my first article for West Virginia Hate Week this week. It is called "Living and Dying in Brawlhalla." Thank you to everyone who read it. It's my most popular work so far. Whoever posted it on Reddit is not me. I don't do self promo like that. I hate Reddit. We got a lot of traffic from there. I ended up just like finding it randomly. But I do have to question the one guy in the comments who said that West Virginia is not Pitt's biggest rival. Um, I don't know. He might have been born Saturday. He just woke up into existence and was like, "The River City rivalry is just the best, the best thing I've ever seen."
Does he have like a real deep take on it, where he's like, our biggest rival is ourselves? Because that take might have a little bit of legs.
First down, goes to the sidelines, has a man wide open. It's tipped. MJ Devonshire got face. He's going to take it to the end zone.
He loves those moments. It reminds me of last year in the Garden against St. John's. And guys just stepped up. Blake hits a what the hell 3. You know, we're like, what are you doing? And he's done that all year.
Klicka out to Bizzario. It's over. The Pitt Panthers have upset Wisconsin. Anybody if he hits his field goal. Up and got it. Sauls does it again.
That take, yeah. Anyway, more stuff coming out this week on I'm Real Angry. Nothing about the self-hating Pitt, though. Not self-hating, but, you know, hitting your own kneecaps with a baseball bat.
Yeah, didn't mean to start with such a negative take on things. We're coming off a good week, so.
No, I mean, listen. We're back. Mason, you and I were back from vacation. I'm super excited to talk about Pitt football because I haven't done it in 2 weeks with anybody. I went on vacation with a bunch of people who aren't Pitt fans. Just want to shout out to Kent and Dom. Did a great job while we were away, recapping week 1. And I forgot to say it, but everybody, welcome back to Simplify Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. I'm joined by my co-host, Mason Kling. How we doing tonight?
Feeling good. I'm feeling like it's rivalry week. I am ready to brawl.
Me too. Can't wait to get out to the game. I'm also joined by Kent Vanderwood. He's got his name back. Kent, how are we doing tonight?
Doing great, Zach. Always great to be 2-0 going into Brawl Week. Really, really excited for this weekend.
I mean, yeah. I'm starting to get the shivers, both of excitement and nervousness, because if we lose, I will feel awful, and if we win, I will. No one can kill me except for God. Before we get into any sort of football talk, we do have 2 big news items from the Pitt world that happened this week. It seems that there's not been a normal news week since August 30th with just Pitt sports in general. We didn't talk about Rodney Hammond not being declared ineligible. I think I don't know. I've nothing to prove this. It smells like gambling to me. The thing that got legalized and gets a bunch of people in trouble every year for, and it's not academic, and it's not a Deshaun Watson style incident, from what we know.
Yeah, we Dom and I covered this a little bit last week. Dom mentioned the gambling rumors. There's a lot of speculation out there. I assume something official will probably come out at some point. It seems to always happen like that. So we'll see. But yeah, I have seen gambling as one of the potential reasons, and it would make sense if that's the deal here.
Yeah, we're not going to speculate too much, but I just think that's the only thing that makes sense. And, Pitt's a private institution, more or less, even though it's state related. They don't really have to tell us, but they're telling us without telling us. Speaking of other news in the Pitt athletic department, Heather Lyke dismissed on Monday. This definitely came as a shock. She was sort of in the rumor mill. She was a finalist for the Northwestern athletic director job. I think that got taken by the previous athletic director of Villanova. So what sort of has come out on Twitter the last couple of days, and I haven't done any reporting on this. I don't have any sources. The two major gripes with her from the university side being sort of a lack of not focus on NIL, but a lack of being embracing of NIL, and then some issues with the finances around the Victory Heights project. That is the project to build a new volleyball and wrestling multi-purpose arena next to the Pete, and then also the new track and field facility on the other side of Sutherland. Um, the NIL stuff I get. I don't really know what the financial aspects are. I've heard that not enough money was raised for that project. However, the way it works with operating expenses and like donation revenue, I don't know how it works. You'd have to ask someone more knowledgeable, like Matt Brown, who does really good work with college finances and things like that. But that's what we're hearing. And I do want to say before we talk any more further about this, Heather Lyke undoubtedly has done a great job with Pitt Athletics overall. Even if the Narduzzi contract is a little bit excessive at this point, if it doesn't work out, she has raised the floor for a lot of other programs. The decision to stick by Jeff Capel through some pretty lean years ended up paying off with big dividends over the last 2 years, and now this year looks like a very good year coming up. Obviously, the volleyball program, the soccer programs, like they have flourished under her. Maybe it's the fact that they were getting tired of her always looking at other jobs, but on the other hand, I think it's really hard to hire two really good athletics directors in a row. And our last AD hired Kevin Stallings. So when it goes bad, it goes really bad.
Yeah, it's Zach, I don't know if you have the same thought, but to me it seemed like pretty out of the blue.
100%. I did not expect it.
I wasn't sure how tapped in you were to that world. But yeah, I don't know. It's like it's one of those things where as much as I love sports, it's super above my head. Like I'm
That's
not
fair.
often up late at night thinking about Heather Lyke, but you're 100% right. I think she did. She did kind of like give us at least Jeff Capel and some other really good stuff. So, but also excited for the new era is my take on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if the NIL stuff is true, like that's obviously something you need when it comes to the new modern landscape of college sports. Listen, thank you for everything she's done. Like she did a great job. Would love to see her stay. I just really hope they nail the next hire. And the other thing is it doesn't really sit well for any sitting coaches that if they don't produce this year with a new AD coming in. That's the other half of that. Kent, you got any thoughts here?
Yeah, like you said, I thought Heather Lyke, fantastic job. No matter kind of what sort of changed here, I thought the quote from the chancellor that we retweeted from the article that was released initially.
Yeah, the article by Christopher Carter, Post Gazette. Just want to give him credit for that one.
Yeah. Shout out Chris. He the quote from Chancellor in that was pretty telling. That it sounded very NIL related, but I understand the other reasonings that may play into it as well. Definitely was surprising. I was under the impression that after she got turned down from the Northwestern job, that she got an extension from Pitt and signed it, but I guess that was incorrect. I might have missing that.
There was an article about that. I guess it was on the table and never signed. I guess because I think the reporting came from Pittsburgh Sports Now. That said a deal was on at least signed, but I would assume if that reporting is now incorrect, because I don't know if you would sign someone to an extension and then fire them approximately a week and a half later. I mean, crazy things have happened, but I would have to assume it was on the table.
Yeah, it sounds like that extension was obviously not signed for the reason you said. Also, I saw as part of the report that she's fired, that her contract is up at the end of the year. I assume they kind of wanted to get a head start on the rest of the universities that will fire their ADs at the beginning of or at the end of the year, as part of the decision that was kind of made here as the timing of it. Like you said, I hope they nail the next hire. There's already some articles out there with some potential names to keep an eye out for this job. A lot of guys with, Pitt ties, Pitt alumni, guys like Lewis Riddick were in the article, some other former players, things like that. It'll be interesting to see kind of what direction they go. I just really hope it's more of like a futuristic approach to hiring this AD with NIL in mind and not going backwards to, more of a historical mindset where athletics are just like not important to the new chancellor type deal.
Yeah. I will say I did see that going around. I would be shocked if they. I think honestly, when you're hiring an AD, the ties to the university are nice if they have them, but overall they kind of mean less.
Yeah.
Like nothing against Lewis Riddick or like a former player, but I'd rather someone who has experience in the athletic department, especially experience with NIL, related activities and things like that, over just like someone for the university for like fundraising purposes. I mean, that's happened a bunch of times. I know that Lynn Swan was the former AD at USC, and that did not end up working out. So yeah, I think that there was one name thrown out. I think there were two names thrown out that I would really like. I think I would put stock in. One is the current assistant AD. He worked in football for a very long time. The names escape me, but the other one was assistant AD at Oklahoma, who's done a lot of work with their NIL efforts. So the smart hire, honestly, is not the name that the associated with the university. It's the person who's going to, like you said, build all the programs for the future and is in this futuristic mindset of this is the landscape and we've got to operate in it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think there has to be any university ties at all. Obviously it's a bonus if they think that there's somebody with that fits the job the best. But at the same time, that shouldn't be the deciding factor. If there's another candidate that's more qualified and a better fit, that may not even have university ties. That's totally I'm totally on board with you with that.
Yep. All right. So I don't have anything else to add. You guys have anything?
Not on that. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. We salute you. Podcasting is not a visual medium, but can hit that salute real tight. Our next and final piece of non-football news is your Pittsburgh Panthers women's volleyball team is ranked number 1 in the nation for the first time in program history. Now, if you're driving your car, I want you to pull over to the side of the road, get out of your car, and from where you've parked, probably on the side of the highway, I want you to face towards the Cathedral of Learning and just give a 1-minute salute.
Minute's long, man.
Your arm gonna get tired?
Yeah, you're gonna have a sore shoulder.
Well,
I'll clap it up though. I'll clap it up for them. Congrats, Panthers. Congrats. That's big. That's big time. Obviously, we're a pro volleyball podcast here. Zach's done a number of more in-depth episodes with the volleyball team, as Mason and I are not as well versed with the volleyball stuff. But awesome. They've been super fun to watch the last few years or so. A little surprising that they haven't made it to that number 1 spot before. They've been close, but it's awesome to see them finally get to that spot here. They've got some big matchups coming up here as well.
Yeah.
I think it's got to been a long time since any Pitt sport has, maybe wrestling, I guess, or men's soccer just a couple weeks ago.
Men's soccer was 3. They were number 1
Okay.
a couple years ago.
Okay.
Basketball was number 1 in like 2009, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think if for football, I want to say you have to go back to 1982 for the last time they're ranked number 1.
Until this year.
So I mean that Pitt logo, man, it just those colors look so much brighter with a 1 next to them.
Yeah. I mean the way they got number 1 is like their they're undefeated. They have not lost this year. And then the three teams ahead of them prior to this were Texas, Nebraska, and Wisconsin. They all had a bunch of really like bad losses, so they dropped out. Just for a little news update here, Pitt does play a couple of really big games coming up. On Wednesday night, they'll be playing at number 23 USC on the top 25 matchup to add to their resume. And then next week, the 18th on Wednesday, they play Penn State in the Pete. That is now a top 3 matchup. So that's going to be fucking huge.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
So I'll be tuning into that one. Now, Ken, it's time for you to take the lead here. Pittsburgh 28, Cincinnati 27. Just walk me through it, because if you didn't know, Kent was in charge of the podcast account while I was gone. He's been throwing up some bangers. Kent, great job. Clap it up for Kent. Run the podcast account. Just walk me through everything you saw on Saturday.
Yeah, man. It was quite the roller coaster. I came in with pretty high expectations for this game, for the offense, especially after last week, all the hyping up of Eli Holstein, as did, I'm sure, a lot of Pitt fans. We came out so flat. We looked horrendous the entire first half. It got to the point where it was just like, all right, I'm going to turn this off about partway through the third quarter. But, you can't ever lose faith in the boys. They did look very bad, though. They started out, gave up a 52-yard touchdown to go down 7-0. Ben Sauls hits a nice field goal from 47 yards out, brings it to 7-3 in the first half. Then, by halftime, a little bit before halftime, it's 17-3. Cincinnati's driving. They're about to kick another field goal with minimal time left in the first half. They miss a field goal. Pitt ends up driving down. Ben Sauls knocks down a 53-yard field goal. That was a huge point in the game. Goes from a 20-3 game to 17-6 at halftime. Really gives us a little bit of life going into halftime.
Yeah, so just on the first half, the offense, at least on the first drive, was moving the ball. That pick by Eli in the red zone was really bad. That's a redshirt freshman mistake. Just threw it. I think the guy was double covered. There was a different open route on the other side of the field. But yeah, I mean, the offense after that didn't do much beside the field goals, and then the defense really was getting gashed like the entire first half. I believe their running back had over 100 yards in the first half. So
yeah,
it was.
Sorry, go ahead.
It was setting up to be like a classic week 2 disappointment after beating up on Kent State. And, it doesn't take that much to beat up on Kent State, if we're being quite honest.
Yeah. It fully felt like we were headed toward 1-1 going into Brawl Week, limping into WVU Hate Week. Yeah, you said it. Eli did not look good at the beginning of this game. There were a number of like RPO plays that he was just making the wrong read on, throwing the pass when it wasn't there. A couple double covered, slants, things like that. The pick you mentioned was not a good decision. They were actually putting a nice drive together. Looked like they were going to get some points on the board. He tried to force it into the end zone, wasn't there at all. A couple guys on the receiver, and just gets picked off pretty easily. So yeah, kind of ugly there. But I want to say that was the first drive that they had. So it really took it from like, all right, we might tie this game up at 7 to, or I can't remember if we had the ball first. Either way, went from we're going to get a touchdown early to never mind, we can't score any points because the offense can't do anything. Pretty much the entire first half until that, that drive to end the first half, I think was really big. I mentioned that before, but it gave me a lot of confidence in the fact that they were going to turn it around in the second half, which leads to the tweet at halftime. Everybody was
in the trenches. You were in the motherfucking trenches with this tweet, Kent.
I was in the trenches, bro. It was the fans were divided. The Pitt fan base was very divided. I saw numerous tweets calling for Eli to get benched, including a lot of replies to the Pitt official football halftime score tweet. I was very against it. I thought there were a number of. Did he make some mistakes? Yes. There were a number of plays I thought were super unfortunate for him. Um, I had some specific examples right after the game on Saturday, but a couple of things that just didn't go his way. A couple, there was a holding penalty that negated a nice first down run from him. There was, a pass that got knocked down that would have been a nice gain, but the defender barely got a hand on it, type of thing. Just a few unlucky breaks that I think if they had gone the other way in the first half, he had a much better first half. And Pitt puts some more points on the board. So for those reasons, I'm like, all right, man, he clearly came out flat. He's made some mistakes. It's his first road game. He's a redshirt freshman. You can't bench him. He has shown you enough that, and there's been a lot of things that if they had gone the other way, this is a completely different ball game. So for those reasons, I sent out the tweet saying, I don't understand people calling for Yarnell. Like, give the kid a break. He's a redshirt freshman in his first road start, and it paid off. So we'll get into the second half here now.
Yeah, I will say I think I do understand why people would call for the QB to be benched after the last couple of years of subpar QB play, where people were like the backup is probably better, especially after last year, especially when Keaton Slovis wasn't the same after the Tennessee injury. I get it, but like you said, it paid off. Walks through the second half here.
Yeah, they come out still not looking great in the second half. Cincinnati scores the first touchdown in the second half, so it's 24-6. At that point, it really still, like, the offense was flat. I thought at that point they may go with Yarnell. They did not. Cincinnati even kicks another field goal, so it's 27-6. At that point, I really thought Yarnell was going to just get the reins for the remainder of the game. Credit to Narduzzi and Cade Bell. They left Eli in there. Kanate Mumfield gets an 11-yard pass from Eli for a touchdown, 27-13, right toward the end of the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter was really where things turned around. The offense was just on fire. They followed up with a 7-play, 82-yard touchdown drive with a 38-yard touchdown pass to Kanate from Eli again.
That was on fourth down, right?
Yes, it was.
I like that. That reminded me of the 21 Clemson game where Addison had that fourth down touchdown catch. Like, I love that now we do have an aggressive offensive coordinator. Like, that's what they were down multiple scores in the fourth, and they said, we need points. We're not going to settle for a field goal. That was the correct move 100%. Maybe not the correct move was going for 2 on both of those touchdown catches, but
yeah,
Eli looked a lot better in that second half. The highlights really showed it. Des Reed again just went fucking off. He has been a FCS to FBS like success story coming up. He's put up over 100 yards in both games on the ground. He's also the nation's leading all-purpose yard, just leading the nation all-purpose yards ahead of Boise State's Ashton Genty, who's a very good running back as well.
Yeah, Desmond Reed, another great game, obviously. Going back to the 2-point thing, I've always hated that. I don't think it ever works. I can't think of a single example. I'm like, oh yeah, every TV broadcast I watch says, oh yeah, the analytics say to do this. I hate it. I hate it every time.
No, you don't get it. It's the analytics. It's the analytics.
I've never watched a game on TV where a team goes for that and gets it the first time. I literally never.
Yeah. They always don't get it the first time. I would much rather. I might be a little bit of an old school head here. Just take the 7. You're down multiple scores. Granted, it ends up working out. It was a little bit of a fucking nail biter, but
yeah. In my mind, it's just like the momentum's so much better if you're down 7 than if you're down 8. I feel like if you just take the points, man. Because it almost came back to bite them in the butt. They end up getting the ball back with a little over 5 minutes left. Desmond Reed runs a crossing route, and this was the sickest play. He is so fast. If you want to watch one play from Desmond Reed's season so far of his bajillion yards, this is the play to watch more so than the punt return touchdown. He just catches the ball across the middle of the field and just outruns everybody. Like, it was nuts. 56 yards. Sorry,
It's so cool. We finally have a player who's a liability to score anytime he touches the ball again.
yeah. Like, he is so fun to watch. That play was awesome. Of course, they don't get the 2-point conversion again. So then they're down 2. So it really was very close to biting them in the butt. Defense makes credit to the defense here as well. They really held their own here. They force a punt. Pitt then goes down. Holstein really,
2-minute drill.
2-minute drill. Go down, run it for 2:21. Looks like the duration of this drive, kick field goal with 17 seconds left. Ben Saul's ice in his veins in this one, didn't miss a kick. Was just fantastic again. So shout out to him. I thought the clock management should have been a little bit better on this to leave no time remaining for Cincinnati. Left 17 seconds on the clock, which doesn't seem bad. But knowing this Pitt team, I was still worried after that. But if they had kind of played their cards right, they could have kicked this with no time remaining. Super exciting win. Super awesome for team morale going into this week and the rest of the season. I think gave everybody a lot more confidence in Eli. I'm sure moving forward as well. I think Eli definitely just came out with the road jitters. He seemed a lot more comfortable after seeing one go into the end zone. He really locked in. He looked like a completely different player. The third quarter, from the end of the third quarter on from the first half.
Yeah, and I mean, I do have to stand up here and say, your boy was wrong about Eli Holstein, or Holstein. I thought he did not look good in the spring. It turns out that lower body injury was a lot more serious than I had anticipated. He looks like a completely different quarterback. He looks accurate. He looks confident in his throws. 2-time ACC Rookie of the Week. He's deserved it. I feel a lot more confident in Eli, especially like he just had that in him to even, 2.5 pretty awful quarters of play to then go win on the road in a pretty fucking nasty environment as well. That was a full stadium. And then just like shout out to a bunch of guys who have been just doing great all season. I mean, Des Reed, we cannot say enough about how good he has looked through 2 weeks. Kanate Mumfield is finally having his breakout season in a real offense. I think he's already got 4 scores on the year. Don't quote me on that. And then Ben Sauls. Ben Sauls is perfect from beyond 50. Just once again, he's the kicker we knew, the one we saw in that Sun Bowl. The defense really stepped up in the second half. Sincere Edwards and Rasheem Biles has some really important sacks. Just overall a gritty win. And honestly, it's not a win that Pitt pulls out in any time in the last 2 years. And I think that's honestly the biggest takeaway I have is that this offense and the skill that they have, it has completely changed the dynamic of Pitt as an offensive program. Under Cignetti's offense, under those quarterbacks, they're not coming back from being down 24-6. They did not have the tempo or the ability to do that. And now they do. It's just a nice feeling to know that they might be down, they can still score at will.
You're never out of a game. It's good you never want to be behind like that, but it's also comforting to know you're never truly out of it when you can put the points up that we did in the way we did in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Zach. There's just no way any Pitt team from the last couple of years would do anything close to that, let alone actually complete the comeback the whole way. It's just super impressive win across the board. Eli ends up still, 20 of 35, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Like, that's not bad at all. I will take that every day.
For a redshirt freshman's first road start in a raucous environment, you'll take that 8 days a week.
Yeah.
Honestly, I know this is early season. I know that Cincinnati is not expected to be that good. but just the nature of the win, I'll say this is probably the best win we've had since 21 Virginia.
That's
What do you
pretty
mean
good.
20? What do you mean 21 Virginia?
The one where they clinched the Coastal in the championship year, where they had the last second crazy Jordan Addison touchdown to seal the game.
Oh, right. Okay.
Backyard brawl.
Best offensive fueled win, I suppose.
Fair enough.
Nothing. I did misspeak. Nothing beats the fucking 22 backyard brawl, but alas, overall,
Point
great team win. Really quick recap of week 2. We have some just a couple games we want to hit on before looking forward to West Virginia. Unless you have anything else about Cincinnati.
No, that's all I have from me. Their coach blaming the refs after the game was hysterical. Brother, don't blame the refs. You blew a 27-6 lead.
Yeah, you shit down your pants the entire second half. Scott Shatterfield, learn to wipe next time. Other scores from around week 2. Just want to hit on some notable ones. First off, Texas versus Michigan. Texas ends up stomping Michigan at home, 31-12. That was not as close as it was on the scoreboard. Michigan got a garbage time touchdown. The defense is still there for Michigan. The offense is not. It shows that they lost everybody. Another couple of close games here. Oregon beats Boise State at home 37-34. Penn State beats Bowling Green at home 34-27. Couple of scares in week 2. Penn State was down to Bowling Green for quite some time there. Oregon does not look like the world beaters they were, made out to be coming into this year. Tennessee whooped on NC State 51-10. Might have to revise my NC State take that I put out earlier this year. And then the single funniest result of the weekend. Northern Illinois walks into South Bend and whips Notre Dame 16-14. It's been a while since we've got a result that was this funny.
Yeah, I mean, they were so heavily favored that I usually try to make the wouldn't it be funny, like at least, plausible. This just wasn't on my radar, but it was incredibly funny. Them coming off, one of their probably the hardest game of their entire schedule in week 1, and they were going to kind of just coast.
USC looks good now, but yeah, you're probably right.
You can debate it, right? But it's one of them. They're coming off a big win for them, and then just drop a stinker is usually they wait until later in the year to do it. So it's funny to get it out of the way.
Well, it's funny you should say that they usually wait until later in the year to do it because they kind of don't. Marcus Freeman, as Notre Dame's head coach, has dropped some pretty funny games in his tenure there. You remember in his first year as a coach, his first full year, he did coach a bowl game. They lost to Oklahoma State. Bowl games don't really count. In his first year, he lost at home to Marshall 26-21 as the number 8 ranked team in the nation. Then followed that up 4 weeks later by losing 16-14 to a bad Stanford team. He also did it last year. What was it?
He loves losing 16-14, huh?
Yeah, he really does. And then last year he got boat raced at Louisville, which that one in hindsight makes more sense. But Marcus Freeman, we see what's going on there. We see the poop in your pants, and brother, we can smell it.
Yeah,
I want to give a shout out to Northern Illinois' head coach for giving an awesome post game speech, raw emotion. I don't know. It was just cool. He seems like a very ride or die coach, and it was a cool moment.
Yeah, he's a former NIU player. Like, how much that win meant to him, and like just that post game speech, it's chills. It was just off the cusp. You feel great for that team, and you know what? Notre Dame has shown they can lose to a MAC team at home, and they got Miami of Ohio coming to their place in a couple weeks. So just keep your eyes out for that one.
How much? I saw the number, but it's eluding me now. How much was Northern Illinois paid to come to South Bend? It's like,
Oh, that number would be $1.4 million.
That's
You don't want to do that.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want to do that. All right.
Riley
It's time to
Leonard
talk.
still no
Oh, go ahead.
touch passes this year too.
Riley Leonard does not look good. There were some rumors about him not being fully recovered from his ankle injury from the end of last season. Those rumors seem to be true. I would not be shocked to see Kenny Minchie start a game for Notre Dame this year. I'm going to throw that out into the ether.
Wow. One other game wanted to shout out the score of Christmas matchup of the week was Michigan State versus Maryland. Very good game. Maryland was up 24-17 late in the fourth. Michigan State scores a 77-yard touchdown with 4 minutes left, and then kicks a game-winning field goal with a second left to win 27-24. So good Christmas matchup if anybody watched that one.
Can't say I did, honestly. There was not a lot of college football being shown in Lisbon. Safe to say they're not crazy about it. My buddies went to a soccer game that looked great. I was drinking instead. All right, let's talk about the fucking Mountaineers. 3:30. I believe this one is on ABC. If I had to make
ESPN2.
ESPN2. Thank you for the correction.
They took us off of ESPN regular.
Who gets the regular ESPN billing then? Oh, it's Tulane, Oklahoma. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Tulane's gonna beat Oklahoma, by the way. Yeah. I feel a lot better going into this matchup than I did coming into the season. But just to be fair, I do want to give sort of it's more in-depth preview than we usually do of our opposing teams with West Virginia, just because I did the legwork. Listen, they're coming off a pretty damn good season. Garrett Green, for all intents and purposes, is about a top 40-ish quarterback in the nation. He had some issues with accuracy last year, but he is very mobile and he can throw the ball deep. And the reason he can do all that is because West Virginia has a very potent offense. They have a very well-rounded receiving core. None of their guys are over 100 yards yet, but they do have already 3 guys over or just about 75 yards, and then another 3 guys already at 50. They're distributing the ball very well. They have 2 excellent running backs in C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White. Donaldson is the power back. White is more of the speed guy. They can get the ball out pretty much to anybody at will. The only other note I'll make in the offense is that they did lose a couple of guys on the O-line. They do have an NFL-level tackle. They did lose their center, Zach Frazier, to the Steelers. And they also have this guy, Will Dixon, who plays that end for them. Now, he's a backup, but I want you to go look up an image of Will Dixon. Will Dixon is Bizarro World evil Gavin Bartholomew. They're looking up this photo right now. I'm waiting to see Mason's reaction here.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it has no impact on the game. Their number 1 tight end, Cole Taylor, is very good, but I was just noticing that going through their roster this offseason. He looks just like Gavin Bartholomew. It's very weird.
Yeah, you're right though. Like very much alternate universe, like Bad Apple, Gavin Bartholomew.
Yeah.
Evil cousin.
He is like the distant cousin of Gavin Bartholomew. The only thing I want to say is Green is very good. He's turnover averse. He does not put the ball in harm's way very often. It leads to him throwing the ball away more often than other quarterbacks, which leads to his low completion percentage. But he is a quarterback that can hurt you. Now, moving to the defense. West Virginia lost a ton on their defense coming into this year. And it shows because West Virginia is 114th in the nation in passing yards allowed this year. They played Penn State and Albany. The Albany quarterback put up 300 on them, I believe. Drew Aller looked really good week 1. I don't have their rushing stats up, but they do have a fairly strong front 7. They lost their number 1 linebacker, Lee Kapogba. But really, the place where you can hurt West Virginia is through the air. And after seeing the Pitt offense through 2 weeks, I like their chances against this secondary because, as we all know, Drew Aller was not a world beater coming into this year, and he looked really good against them. I did catch the highlights of this game from week one. The Penn State passing offense has not been good the last couple of years, and it looked in stride against these guys week one.
Yeah, I think that we can definitely take advantage of that. One of the keys to the game, one of Mason's keys of the game, is do that in the first half. Let's not wait to make some halftime adjustments to take advantage of some of those things, because they're definitely gettable. So let's hit them early.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is a game where the Pitt defense has looked a little shaky this year. The pass rush has not been. It's not going to be what it's going to be early. It's a lot of new guys. You got a couple freshmen starting between Sincere Edwards and Francis Brewu. The cornerbacks are taking their lumps. I mean, still the safeties are pretty excellent, but this is a game where you're going to have to keep score with them. I think this is probably a pretty high scoring affair. To be honest, I don't think that they're going to really smother West Virginia in any sense in this game. I would love to see it happen. I'd love to see Nate Matlack go off and Donovan McMillan 3 picks. That's fantasy for me. It's probably not realistic. But I agree with you, man. They have to start early. They have to start clean. You cannot spot them a bad turnover because they're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, both sides of the ball. If we start the way we did at Cincy, I don't think it would be a very good outcome for us. We're not going to be able to will our way back against a better team than Cincy probably was. So, that's my like biggest thing is from the jump.
Yeah, another big thing from the Cincinnati game I failed to mention during the recap was our corners were horrible.
Yeah,
Absolutely horrible. Couldn't cover anything. So I believe they're not going to completely fix that in a week. Seems to just be a lack of, overall talent at that spot at the moment. Gonna take, it's gonna take a village on that side of the ball, I think, to really limit West Virginia. I think the offense really does have to start fast, to your point, for that reason as well. I think West Virginia is going to be able to put up some points on us. Offense, just, back at home, crowd behind you. Let's start fast.
Yeah, I think that, obviously keys to the game start fast. The other thing is that they have to be really, really perceptive of the West Virginia rushing attack, not just like, between the tackles and off tackle with CJ Donaldson, but they really have to key into your swing passes and screens with Jaheim White. Now, Jaheim White only has 2 catches for 7 yards this year, but he's a menace with the ball in his hands. You just have to contain that, and then you try and bottle that up, and then play better on the back end. Hudson Clement is a very good wide receiver. Traylon Ray is really good. Preston Fox, Cole Taylor, they have a pretty good tight end. I think our linebackers can cover him, but we're probably going to need a lot of safety help this week, especially because West Virginia likes to throw it deep. And no, limit the deep bombs. They're going to hit one. There's going to be a pass where one of our corners gets, just absolutely pissed on. Maybe it doesn't, but I'm being a realist here.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
And I think just honestly, keep the guys who are being involved in these games, keep them involved. Keep Des Reed involved in the passing game. Keep Konate involved as your number 1 receiver. I'd like to see a little bit more Gavin. They're definitely using him better than they were last year. I think teams do tend to really key in on him as far as like the number 1 guy. But already Konate, Des, and Kenny Johnson are all over 100 yards receiving on the season. Gavin's nearing that with 91 yards. And then, I got to say, Poppy Williams is doing a great job stepping up to the FBS level. Just keep all these guys involved. Hopefully you get a little bit more out of Derek Davis as your number 2 back. And then honestly, this is just me personally. I'm not a huge fan of the zone reads as a concept with the offense. I know that Eli can run. I think he's just better as a passer right now. And like Kent said, he wasn't making the best reads in terms of his keeps and his RPOs. I think just keep it simple. It's good that this game is at home. It's a lot better that it's at home. And the crowd's behind us. That's going to play a huge factor into it. Yeah, they're gettable. They're gettable right now. SP Plus, which is ESPN's advanced analytics, has this as a 44% chance for Pitt to win. So I think they have it within a touchdown. I think it's a 5-point spread for West Virginia on the road per the advanced numbers. It's still early in the season. It takes a little bit to catch up if that seems a little big to you guys. Yeah, overall gettable. They have a weakness that we can exploit with our top weapons through the passing game. And it's just a matter of honestly getting 1 or 2 stops and not getting stopped, not making that dumb mistake early in the game to get you in a hole.
Yeah. I also, kind of speaking to that, Eli, I thought it was really cool. Narduzzi saying after the game that Eli came up to him, apologized, said he'll never, start that poorly ever again. Just really took accountability, put it out there. I think that's a really respectable thing for him to do. And, I trust that he'll come out, better than he did on Saturday.
We opened, if we're talking betting, I believe we opened as 2.5-point favorites. Or sorry, West Virginia. West Virginia was 2.5-point favorites. Seeing the line move at some places to 3 now. So seems like the majority of the bets are on West Virginia at that number. Good. I love it. Give me the underdog. I want to be the underdog in this game. I feel like we play better when we are, and it's going to be, even more fun to have that kind of, I know it's not a big upset, but that kind of like underdog mentality at home.
I think even if we win, it's still a pretty big upset, just given the perception of both these teams coming into the year.
Yeah.
Where West Virginia definitely had aspirations of competing for that Big 12 title and that Big 12 playoff spot, and Pitt generally being thought of as one of the bottom feeders in the ACC. Now that's Florida State, but that's a separate issue altogether. Yeah, I think if we win, it's a feather in the cap. I think that a lot of concerns sort of start to melt away with all the things that are up in the air with this team coming in. A win would definitely do that, even if it's like, as long as it's not a blowout. Honestly, it's kind of a win. And that's me being a huge pessimist with the game. I think they absolutely can win. As long as it's competitive, this is a huge step in the right direction. West Virginia is a very senior team. They have a lot of experience coming back. We have a lot of mishmash experience. It's a new system. Anything can happen in the backyard brawl, boys.
We know that.
God damn, don't we know that?
We got to win.
We got to win. We got to win. Just win.
If it being a close loss, let's win.
You guys have any funny memes from West Virginia Hate Week that you've seen already that got you a chuckle?
I have not seen any in particular. You got one for me?
I saw somebody post a picture of, I guess it was probably at the game, the 2021 game, where somebody was holding up a sign where it had like West Virginia's attendance. It was like 25,000 students and it had a picture of a tree and it just said one family tree. That one gave me a good laugh.
I did see one. It was this is the biggest joke I've ever seen. It was just a picture and said West Virginia University School of Dentistry. That one got a chuckle out of me. I will say, just speaking of memes, the memes that came out of Cal beating Auburn last week, that was really funny. Auburn lost to Woke. That one really got a chuckle out of me. Yeah, I don't know. Want to talk about other games?
Yeah, there's some other good ones this Saturday.
There's some other good ones. Yeah, last thing, just fucking win. You can do it. Also, yeah, we'll be in attendance. If you see us in the tailgate lots, come say hi. We don't bite. We hope that you have a weird parasocial relationship with us when you hear us ramble about football an hour for every week. That's our
Gold Lot 2.
Or Gold Lot 2? Okay, that's news to me. We'll be there. Ken, you got your game day fit picked out yet?
Nah, not yet. My jersey from not an official licensed jersey has not arrived, so I'll have to go with Plan B, which is to be TBD.
Probably gonna go with the white picket. It's just a classic. Not from an official source, but it was before you could do that.
I want to wear bright royal blue to make it clear who I'm rooting for.
Yeah, it's a good call.
I don't.
It's a good call.
My only royal blue jersey is my Twyman, and it doesn't really fit anymore. So,
Oh, you both wear a blue 97 jersey because I have a Aaron Donald.
I got to see if I have the Twyman upstairs. We'll talk about this later. Week 3. Let's look at the slate. Thursday night, Friday night, not a ton of huge games. Arizona State, Texas State should be some points. And then a pretty big game in the Big 12 title race. Number 20, Arizona goes to number 14, Kansas State. That should be a pretty good game for a Friday night. Maybe we'll try and catch this one on the radio while we're driving up to Pittsburgh. Moving on to Saturday. Alabama at noon, 12 o'clock on Fox. This is the big noon game. They go to Wisconsin. Alabama has looked pretty damn good under Kale on the board these past 2 weeks. Don't know if Wisconsin's up to it, but it's a nice helmet game.
It's a alphabetical helmet game.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I like that.
It's the all shit game.
Oh, shucks. The only other one really big ranked game is number 16 LSU going to South Carolina, who put a fucking whooping on Kentucky. They beat the shit out of them last week. No real other thoughts on that game. I don't know. Mason, do you have a Wouldn't It Be Funny yet?
So I have a couple that I think I need to crowdsource because
do you want to go window by window, pick one at the end?
we can do that. Yeah.
You got any in the 12 o'clock?
I do. So it's Memphis and Florida State.
I was gonna say that one.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we might have a winner then. The line is a little close for it to be a Wouldn't It Be Funny? But you know what's really fucking funny would be the 10 ranked Florida State Seminoles going 0-3 in their first games.
0-3, not only 0-3, 0-3 against Georgia Tech, Boston College, and now Memphis.
Yeah.
This is a belly laugher.
Just to see, I know they're getting it already, but to see the reactions from their fan base if they lose this game will be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, they spent the whole offseason saying we're better than the ACC, and then starting 0-3 would warm my heart.
Yeah.
I think that's our crowning. Wouldn't it be funny? Kent, let me know if I skip over a Christmas game of the week, by the way, because the other game in this slate, it's a weird start time, 12:45 on SEC Network. A ranked on ranked, number 24 Boston College goes to number 6 Missouri. Missouri probably wins, but Boston College looks pretty good to start the year. By the way, Steven, our friend Stephen Thompson, I will not apologize for my Castellanos take. I still think he sucks. 3:30. I'm not going to say I'm going to watch any of these games. I'll be at the Brawl. Probably the best other game in this slate, it's a slow one, is going to be you got Tulane at Oklahoma on ESPN 3:30. Like I said earlier, Tulane's probably going to – I think they're going to win because they almost beat Kansas State last week, and then Oklahoma only scored 15 against a really bad Houston team. You've also got A&M at Florida. Could be funny. They're both kind of not good. Kent?
Tulane at Oklahoma is the Christmas matchup of the week this week.
Okay. All right. I probably should have figured that one. Who you got?
What's the spread in that one? Let me see.
Oklahoma 13.5.
I like Tulane to cover, but I like Oklahoma to win at home. Yeah.
Tulane money line. Book it.
All right.
Mason, you're muted.
Sorry, I had my enchiladas out of the oven. I'm with Kent. Tulsa covers.
Tulsa.
Oklahoma wins.
Tulane.
Tulane covers. Sorry, Tulsa plays Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I'm all messed up in my window.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. I'll stand alone on this one. Then I guess I didn't even notice this, but Washington State, Washington should be a conference game, but it's not. That's also on Peacock at 3:30. The fact that this is a interconference matchup makes me feel dirty. And honestly, if I were the supreme dictator of the world, they would share a conference. That would be my policy platform. And then I'd ban LED headlights. Just gonna put it out there. God, this is a really kind of stinky slate. I'm not seeing any games that are kind of even worth mentioning moving.
I'm gonna give it's a half hour later. You might talk about this one: App State and ECU. I don't know. I think ECU could be pretty good this year. I know Liberty was kind of the favorite to be the group of 5 team in the playoff, but I don't know. Watch out for ECU.
Yeah, I mean ECU is 2-0. It is very funny that ECU has the leading passer, but his his stat line is 591 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 7 picks. That's always a very funny kind of quarterback to be. Yeah, I think East Carolina can definitely win. App State definitely did not look good last week. It was against Clemson, but hey, they're 2-0. Why not? Moving later, there is a whole lot of nothing. I guess Ole Miss goes to Wake. Go ahead.
The only other wouldn't it be funny I had on my radar was UConn and Duke. Simply because those are basketball schools. It's weird that they're playing football, and I don't know. It would be funny if UConn beat Duke in football. That's all.
I think honestly, that just might be a baseline funny game.
Yeah.
Just because they're basketball schools. Because also, yeah, fucking Duke played in a stinker last week. They had to go to double overtime with who was it? It was Northwestern. Yeah, the rest of the slate sucks. Just choose whatever's closest. I'm gonna be honest. Nice slate here is not great. You're probably just gonna be shit faced from watching Pitt in West Virginia.
I was gonna say, just get drunk enough that none of these games matter anyway, and that's the game plan for the night slate this weekend.
You know what? I have a secondary. Wouldn't it be funny?
Okay, hit me.
Colorado goes to Colorado State.
Yeah. I think they played them pretty close last year. They played them pretty early in the season.
Yeah, they played. They also played week 3 last year because we were really mad in the hotel in West Virginia watching this game go down to the wire.
That's probably why I have it in my brain.
I think it was a 3-point Colorado win. I want to say. Yeah. I think this is the first time they're playing this game in Fort Collins. This one's at Colorado State since like the 90s, so it should be a pretty good crowd. This is probably your best crowd. 7:30 on CBS. It's always really fun to see Colorado lose.
Yes, always. Was great to see them get whopped by Nebraska last week.
All right, I just want to talk about Nebraska real quick. Their quarterback, Dylan Raiola, he's just doing a Pat Mahomes impersonation.
Yeah.
Have you seen his warm-up clips?
Yeah, it's identity theft is not a joke, Jim. It's actually crazy how bad he's trying to be Patrick Mahomes. The haircut, the mannerisms,
the throwing style.
Yeah.
I saw this post go around, but there was someone who said he chose Nebraska over Georgia and Ohio State because they had the close uniforms to the Chiefs. And I kind of buy that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's going to do it for us this week. We'll see you in, what was it, Gold Lot 2? 2A?
Gold Lot 2.
Gold Lot 2. We'll see you there. And I've been Zach Kaminsky. I've been joined by Mason Kling and Kent Vanderwood. This has been Simple 5 Pod. Follow us on Twitter. Give us a rating, 5 stars in your podcast app of choice. It helps us out. We'll see you next week.
Hail to Pitt.
Beat the Mountaineers.